welcome. This is part 2 of an ink and watercolor sketch tutorial that I have put together. I sketched first in pencil and then ink in part 1, and now I'm going to finish this sketch with watercolor, marker, and a Faber-Castell pen. Here I have an Artist Loft palette container, great for travel, and a lot of the colors on there that are already mixed I tend to use in other sketches, so they're already mixed up, which is nice, so I can just go ahead and re-wet them and apply them. I applied some water to the sky area. This is a number 6 round watercolor brush, and by leaving some of the paper dry, it gives the effect of clouds. And with my greens, I like to use sap green, cadmium yellow, and a little bit of yellow ochre. I like them light and bright. The paper is the sketch is a little low on camera, but it's just for the initial first part, and then I'll raise it so you can see the first or the whole image. And I'm mixing up a little bit of pink for that building, and I just grabbed a little scrap paper to just test that color out before applying it. And then for the lighter part of that, I will just add some white to brighten it up. That was just a color that I happen to have in my palette. It's probably a lot of white and a little bit of pink, orange, and yellow. Very sparingly on those colors because it's very soft. And on the building itself, I didn't wet the paper, I just went directly in with the color. I mixed, or didn't mix, excuse me, this is straight Payne's Gray for a little bit of the shadowing. Payne's Gray is a great color for windows. And I've grabbed a number 1 small little detailed fine brush to do those side windows with the Payne's Gray. Watercolor is just so beautiful. It's so soft. I love how translucent it is, and just how beautiful. mix a tiny little brown into the Payne's gray for those beams. And with the green that I had for the plants, I mixed a tiny bit of blue, cerulean blue, to do that sign and the stripes in this awning. Oh, and I took a little bit of a wet brush I didn't put on camera, and I went over that sky again to soften it up. So these are Tombow markers. They are not waterproof, so whatever you do, you want to make sure that you are using these for finishing details, and you don't want to put any more watercolor over those. They've got such a nice fine point to do some nice detail work. I had the black one, and then this was a dark gray, so I just tested them on that piece of paper because I didn't really want, because I'm keeping this soft, I didn't want to do black. Even though they look black in the reference photo, I just still wanted to keep it a little softer. I think this is an N95, so this worked out really nice. I'll leave a description of the tools I used in the, or I'll leave a list of the tools I used in the description. I like using markers with the ink and watercolor. I usually use Artist Loft waterproof markers for shadows, but I mostly used Payne's Gray watercolor paint for the shadows in this particular sketch. More Payne's Gray for some more shadowing. I like how that sky turned out. It's very pretty. A lot of times I leave the sky out, but I thought this particular sketch would have benefited from that, so I think it was a good choice. Put a little more sky in that balcony because you could see through it. And that was still a little wet and a little too dark for me, so I just blotted that. A little bit of brown and yellow ochre for those planters. I'm glad I put the people in. Could you imagine these people there in the photo if they knew they were being like painted into a painting? It's hilarious. It's so funny. So I've got a little white gouache paint It's a very opaque type of paint, and I'm just gonna do some gibberish so it looks like words for the sign. A few more details with the Tombow, those planters, and just something back there. So I'm making sure that's all dry, and then I went ahead and erased those pencil marks. And here is the finished sketch. I missed a little bit of video footage for you guys. I apologize. I seem to do that. I did a little more Payne's gray through the sidewalk. The sidewalk was kind of a reddish brick. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to put the red brick against the pinkish building, so I just did a gray wash, and I used my Faber-Castell 0.1 and 0.5 markers for just a few little details. You could see some darker lines within those squares on the corners of the building underneath, and then I did a little line underneath underneath those. I did a little line going across that roof, not roof line, but I don't know what you call that. But anyways, I did some more squares around to darken the squares in the doorway as well with that marker, or they call it a pen, and a little bit in the planters to just give them a little shading. So I hope you enjoyed part 1. If you watched it, I hope you enjoyed part 2, and I hope you got something, a little something to take away. I appreciate your time. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you find time to sketch and paint today, and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.